Hi, I'm Barbara.
And I'm John.
Welcome to InnerRacial.
We always start off like this. We look at each other like, who's going to speak first?
Exactly.
She's going to probably lead most of this this video, but let me start off by saying we truly appreciate the support that you've given us so far. It's like we've exceeded 1,000 subscribers. He's coming up on 2,000. Our channel itself is coming up on like 90,000 views. And we've really been getting a lot of great comments.
Yeah, and support. Yeah, we really appreciate every one of your comments. All of them.
Yeah, we appreciate all of the comments.
All of them.
Some of them are really nice and some of them are not so nice. But that's why we're here. We're here to create dialogue. We want to hear from all, everyone.
Yeah.
We want it to come from all angles, and it is.
And it really is. And what I love about the comments are, obviously it's been a lot of positivity, but then the things that I don't want to call them not so positive, but just sort of skew away from the common response it's very thought-provoking. And actually that one of the comments resulted in the topic for
the topic of the video.
Tonight. Yeah.
Once a cheater, always a cheater? That's a question. That's the question.
That's a question. So one of you lovely viewers posted a comment, and I thought it was very thought-provoking. They had this particular person, I'm not sure if it was male or female. My guess is that it was a male, based on the phrasing of the question. Had a lot of insight. It seems like maybe they watched maybe one or two of the videos. I'm not sure if they watched them all, but nevertheless they had some feedback. And actually, I actually like the comment because I can tell that this individual was really thinking through and actually looking past, or attempting to look past, what we're presenting on the camera. And they made some comments, and we're going to talk about them. So I will start just by reading the statement or the comment that one of you guys made. Once a cheater, always a cheater would be the label women give men who have been adulterous. Yes, she's attractive. However, money nor beauty guarantees true, healthy love.
So she kind of left out the first sentence. So basically it said all the comments about her beauty is nice, but let's deal with content. That's I knew when I read that first sentence, I knew it was coming. But go ahead. So it said money nor beauty guarantees true healthy love.
Yeah, and I zeroed in on once a cheater, always a cheater, mainly because I thought that was really kind of getting to the meat of this discussion. And, John and I kind of had some conversation off camera about it, and obviously it inspired us to, talk about it with you guys. So I'll go on to read further. Picking up. Once a cheater, always a cheater would be the label women give men who have been adulterous. Yes, she's attractive. However, money nor beauty guarantees true, healthy love. The man she wanted and cheated with left her for his true romance, even though she's beautiful. That wasn't enough to keep her down low love. And yes, they seem happy, but looks and money can't buy happiness. People,
I assume they is us.
Yes. People remember that, and they put a gem emoji. I also like to add the point that she made about her ex-husband deserving better, hence why she told him, I'm not reading this whole thing right because it's punctuation missing.
So she said, I also like to add the point that she made about her ex-husband deserving better, hence why she told him.
Mm-hmm.
Is it me? I'm not
Shrugging
sure.
emoji.
I'm not sure, but it's usually guilt that makes people expose themselves, not the fact that she thought she did him an injustice and he deserved better. So not really, he's trying to say she only told because she felt guilt and not the fact that she truly thought he deserved better. Okay.
That wasn't her thought when she was going between both men, my ex-husband and the gentleman that I had an affair with, but got burned when the side man.
It's funny here, instead of side chick, side man. I like that.
That was funny. When the side man left her, as opposed to being honest that you no longer wanted your marriage, not that your ex-husband deserved better. Surely it had much more to do with her not loving him in that way anymore, seeing as you can't really cheat on the man you love. Get it? This is a load of mix-up, but I'm here for it. Perception is everything. Smiling face emoji, everything. So let's talk about it.
Yeah.
So, once a cheater, always a cheater. I actually don't believe that to be true. Just to throw some astrological piece in it, because I've shared before to you guys that I am an astrologer. When I've studied what I've learned in people's natal charts, there can be indications of when there will be outside influences in the lives or relationships of individuals, and sometimes there may be what's called transits that could indicate some outside sort of influence in relationships. Then there are situations or charts where there are lots of fixed orientations where there may not be an indication. But nevertheless, I say all that to say, I don't think that that will always remain true. But what I realize is that we all have our own unique path in life, and I think we kind of touched on this before, and just in terms of like John and I being in an open relationship, not necessarily saying that we are seeing other people, but it's important going forward for me to be very open about how I'm feeling, and also for John to share how he's feeling. Mm-hmm. Because I've shared my issues, or I've exposed myself per se, and but and so the thing is having taken on that practice again, it is revealed to me that we all have our own path in life, and it's not just about someone having sort of a cheating heart, if you will. It's just about that soul's journey, and that's sort of the realization or the understanding that I've come to in my walk, in my life. So did you want to say anything?
Yeah, so when she mentioned, some of you who have watched our other videos, I kind of mentioned an open relationship, being, loving with an open heart, being honest, and sometimes honesty hurts. But if you're not honest, then I think things start the relationship starts to erode over time, and then you end up in a situation where you might have an affair, which we kind of, when we met and we decided to open up and say, you know what, I've had some issues in the past, you've had some issues in the past, let's lay it all on the table and go from there. and I'm gonna be honest with you, this it's not easy, because when someone tells you about, their past indiscretions, human nature, and goes both ways. I told her about my past indiscretions.
It certainly does, which he has not shared.
I have not shared, with the YouTube audience. But what happens is, the mind is very is powerful, very powerful, and you tend to say, well, if that happened to someone who she loved and was a great provider, and she was still, can it happen to me? And trust me, we've had, after discussions, we've had those discussions.
Yes.
Actually,
when we first met, when we kind of, this is, you guys know that this is grown folk talk at this point, pillow talk, if you will.
Yeah.
We've shared quite a bit with one another, quite a bit. But I will say that I enjoyed hearing his stories, and I didn't have the same response. So because I think I have a different, I sit with a different perspective than he does, and that perspective has come about through my philosophical studies, religious studies, faith-based studies, and now astrological studies, and that has shaped and formed my perspective on just relationships in general. And so when we talked about an InnerRacial 1, he wasn't ready for somebody like me. He really wasn't, because a lot of the things that I discussed with him and shared with him, they were new, and they were, some of you have kind of commented that I'm searching, that for Jesus and so on and so forth, and I appreciate all your comments, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. And I try to learn and expand who I am and how I think daily. And I think he can really attest to that, because I have a book right here, right now, that while he was setting up, that I'm studying on astrology. Yep. But just the things that I have introduced him to, the different perspectives. Abraham Hicks was probably the first, and that was, I think, was a big shift in his mental perspective. But nevertheless, because of all the things that I've studied and where I am in my life, I have my perspective on relationships is so broad, and it is, I try to be more accepting of people and their behavior and what they say and how they say it. Yeah.
Because the way I look at it is, whatever works for you works for you. Mm-hmm. There's really no right or wrong. Now, when it comes to morality, I believe there's right and wrong. But when it comes to how you look at situations and how you come to conclusions and how you accept things and how you actually process things that happen, there's no really right way to do it. And when she talked about Abraham Hicks, somebody might say she's whack, she's a cuckoo, or whatever. But that's fine if that's how they feel. But everyone has to come to something. Mm-hmm. There has to be something that centers you, whether it's God, whether it's your family, love, some type of purpose to serve the community. There has to be something that really centers you. And I think that when I met Barbara, I was a little lost in that sense, and not that everything she gave me centered me, but it exposed me to things that I really would not entertain before we met. And and I think the reason that I decided to open up and say, you know what, let me give these things a chance. Let me is because of the impression that she had upon me. You know, she impressed me. I was like, you don't meet these types of people every day. You know, you might meet them once in a lifetime. And up until that point, that was that once in a lifetime that I met someone like Barbara, and it you know spoke the world that I was actually willing to open up and say, okay, let me pay attention to some of these things and see where it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would ask you the question: once a cheater, always a cheater?
So I'd have to say, cheating to me, some people can look at cheating as like alcoholism, like a sickness, like a mental, like where they just can't be satisfied with one partner, or you know, and I think that's why some people go into what they would consider open relationships. Like, you know, hey, if I need to be with someone else, but let's just be honest about it. That's not where I am, it's a hard question, because I think there's some people that cheat their whole lives. Really, I do. And for if you knew those people, you'd be like, it makes sense. Once a cheater, always a cheater. But there are other people who may have, and I would say, I would use myself as an example, you know, who had indiscretions in the past, and but it was a personal thing. I would never blame my partner or my spouse or my, you know, whoever I was, my significant other. I would never blame them for a decision that I made, because it's a decision, it's a choice. It's like abuse, you know, it's like hitting someone. No one can make you hit them, you know. It's within, it's inside.
Yes.
And I think when we decide to step outside of our relationships and seek whatever it is that we want, a lot of times it's from lack of communications on both sides. You know, if I come to you and say, hey, I'm just feeling like you're not really paying attention to me, or I feel like, you know, our intimacy is lacking, and that other person ignores you, it's not good, because it can lead to some things of someone to seek that feeling outside of that relationship. And one thing that when we met and we talked and we discussed it, we said, look, if you ever have a feeling where you meet someone and you're interested and you want to take it to that next level, please tell me.
Yeah.
Tell me. Just say, John, and because then you get because right now the way we've defined our relationship is that, you know, we are what's the word, exclusive to one another.
Yes.
You know, and I've been faithful to Barbara since the day I met her.
Vice versa.
and I don't have any intentions on doing, you know, on seeking anything anywhere else, you know, when it comes to what I would want from my companion. So with that said, if there ever came a day that you know, Barbara came to me and said, hey, I met someone and I really would like to explore that relationship, then we would have to sit down and we would have to renegotiate our relationship. And it could be, okay, you know what, take a month and see what happens, or it could be like, sayonara, see you later. You know, so but I don't want to think about that, because we're not there. And I think that when you consistently harp on something like that, it's done it to me in this relationship. There have been a few times that I wasn't in the right mental space, and it's like a worm that would get in your brain and just start eating at your brain. A parasite, and it's like, it's easier just to be honest. You know, and you know, I said in the last video we did in New Orleans, I said, you know, there are times that I get a little jealous, but don't let I don't let that, you know, destroy what we have. You know, I would tell her, you know, and I've approached her a couple times and was open, was honest, and said, I don't like that, you know, or I'm not feeling that right now, you know.
And I do in my own way, and he probably knows, because, like I said, you know, what the commenter said, like, you know, beauty or it goes both ways. You know, looks don't define a relationship, and I totally agree with that. I 100% agree with that. You know, because for me, I would say this beauty fades, or, you know, often fades, and I look for substance in relationships. I think that I mentioned this before. I'm a sapiosexual, and I prefer, you know, intellect. I prefer engagement, mental engagement. That for me is more stimulating than the physical, or that gets me, I guess, to the physical part, you know, when you stimulated my mind. And so, having said that, you know, John is a very handsome man, and I know, I see comments, and I know that women find him attractive, and they, you know, are not shy about telling him at all.
Thank you.
And will inbox him.
I'm not saying any of y'all, but we might be talking about Instagram or something.
But they will inbox him. So, and the thing is I know that, I recognize that. Do we argue or fight about it? No. It is what it is. And the thing is that I recognize that if anything were to come out of that, potentially, then, you know, that would be the, you know, I would say I would just have to accept that that would be the next iteration of our relationship. And I think that's what he was saying as well. Would I be hurt? Would I be hurt? Potentially, yes. Yeah. But again, where my mind is, and the place where I've come to in life, is accepting that we live in cycles. And some people, you know, stay in relationships when they're just like horrible, you know, and they want out, but they stay for whatever, you know, whatever the reason is, family, children, comfort, security, yeah. And they also, going back to the commenter's statement about me not, guilt, that's what it was. Having a sense of guilt, which is why I went to my ex-husband and said that I wanted to separate, and then later I told him what happened. Was it guilt? Absolutely. I won't even deny that. I may have even said that in InnerRacial 1. And so, you know, when you guys comment on things, John and I have these conversations with John. I love it when you look deeper past the things that we say. And, you know, if I say something to you, reveal something to you, and then you sort of repeat it, that go a little deeper, you know, let's have a deeper discourse than what I've already.
Don't just regurgitate what you heard us say.
Because I say the same thing to him, you know, well, you know that because I told you. So, but yeah, there was guilt involved in my decision to wanting to exit that relationship. It was really a tough decision, and maybe that's a subject of another video, is divorce, and maybe unpacking. I think Jada Pinkett Smith said something about it, you know, about unraveling a relationship. Well, having gone through it, I can attest to the difficulty in it.
So we had a discussion a couple weeks ago, because I said I told her, I said, you made a comment in one of your I think it was one or two, and I said, let's find it. So we actually had to go through, because she was like, I don't know if I said that, but she made a comment like about her former spouse, that, you know, I had everything I wanted, he provided everything I ever needed or wanted. So for her to, the way I look at that is for her to have the courage to go to him and say, although you're providing everything I need and everything I want, it's it just isn't there, and that's very possible. Where because I know that in the marriage that I just left and got a divorce, I was at a stage where I was like, I can deal with this. I'm comfortable, but was I happy? And I wasn't. I just wasn't happy. And it's like we'll lie to ourselves. And what is it? Cognitive dissonance.
Yeah, cognitive
dissonance. It's like let me make up every reason that I can think of why I should stay, so I don't have to face the truth of why I really need to leave. Mm-hmm. And I'm gonna tell you what, I was good at it. I was really good at it, I always had that things are gonna get better. I would tell myself over and over, and if you repeat something enough, you start to believe it. Mm. And I actually would believe, I could tell myself, man, things are going to get better, John. Don't, I would have conversation with myself. Things are going to get better. And not saying that my ex-wife is a bad person, but it just wasn't working between us. Mm-hmm. No one wanted to put in the work. It's like when you meet someone that has an impact on you, and it actually makes you want to put in work. Mm. We should all work on ourselves every day. That's an important, because if you don't, if you're not healthy yourself, you can't do anything for anyone else. But when you meet someone who makes you want to actually put in that work, then you kind of know that, and not like, let me become a new person for this. No, let me become a better person. Mm-hmm. Let me improve. There are we can all improve on things, and we get stagnant, when it comes to education, health, just, physical health, mental health, just being, maybe being a better parent, being a better son, daughter, brother, sister, whatever it may be, but being a better, a better partner. Mm-hmm. You always think, I want to try to be her everything.
No,
I can't be her.
I'm glad you said that, because you can't. I don't expect, and I've said this to John numerous times, that, basically I can't make him happy. No. And also he can't make me happy. And the same remains true, I feel.
It's not her responsibility.
It's not my responsibility. Yes. And also, if he gets upset, oftentimes we say, well, you made me mad, or you made me this, you made me this. Well, the thing is that I can't make you anything. You allowed yourself to have those feelings. That's sort of that's the realization that I've come to. So if I'm upset, I've allowed something someone has said or did to impact me and impact my equilibrium.
and where I'll come in with that is, am I saying that when you love someone and they do something that it can't affect you? Mm-hmm. It definitely can, but I would rather now, in the past, when something I would just get mad and just maybe try to retaliate or up
up the ante.
Watch this, I'll up the ante and watch how mad I make you now, versus like, hey, remember the other day you said this certain thing that hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
And be like, really? Yeah, it actually did. It was like, and maybe not even what you said, but maybe the way you said it, or and I said something to her the other day. She made we were having a phone conversation, and we were talking about we were talking about a totally different thing, and then she wrote me into something, and I was like,
We're going on a tangent.
no, we're going on a tangent, but that's why we're here. I didn't say nothing at that point, but I said something the next day. Okay, so this topic has gotten a little deeper than we expected. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut this right here, and we're going to continue on our next video, which will be Interracial 6. And please, if you enjoyed this, watch Interracial 6 for the rest of it, okay? Thank you.
Thank you.